First Contact and Crisis. The vast expanse of space stretched out before the UES horizon, humanity's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the star-speckled void. After months of uneventful travel, the ship's sensors had picked up an anomaly, a distress signal emanating from an uncharted planet in a nearby system. "Dr. Patel, what can you tell me about the signal?" Alina asked, turning to the ship's sinolinguist. Amrita Patel, a brilliant linguist with a shock of prematurely gray hair, furrowed her brow as she studied the readouts. "It's unlike anything in our database, Captain. The modulation suggests a non-human origin, but the complexity, it's far beyond what we've encountered before." Elena nodded, a mix of excitement and apprehension coursing through her. "All right, let's investigate." Helmsman, set a course for the signal's origin. Dr. Chen, prep the medbay. We don't know what we might find down there. As the horizon approached the planet, an azure orb swirled with white clouds. The crew's anticipation grew. This could be it, humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization. The ship entered orbit, and Alina assembled a landing party. Herself, Dr. Patel, Dr. Liang Chen, the ship's chief medical officer, and security chief Marcus Volkov. As their shuttle descended through the planet's atmosphere, they marveled at the alien landscape below. Rolling purple plains dotted with crystalline structures that glittered in the light of the system's binary stars. The distress signal led them to a clearing where a sleek, silver vessel lay partially buried in the earth. Its hull bore scorch marks and impact craters, evidence of a rough landing. "Stay alert," Elena warned as they approached the ship. "We don't know what kind of welcome we'll receive." As if in response to her words, a hatch on the alien vessel creaked open. The humans tensed, hands hovering near their weapons. But instead of a threat, they were met with a sight that stopped them in their tracks. A tall, slender being emerged, its skin a pale blue that seemed to shimmer in the planet's strange light. It had 4 arms and a crest of feather-like appendages adorning its head. But what struck the humans most were its eyes. Large, multifaceted organs that reflected a kaleidoscope of colors. The alien took a faltering step forward, then collapsed to the ground. "Dr. Chen," Elena shouted, rushing forward with the others close behind. Liang knelt beside the fallen alien, his medical scanner whirring as he passed it over the prone form. "Captain, its vital signs are erratic. I'm detecting severe dehydration. And something else. An infection, maybe. But its biology is so different from ours, I can't be certain." More aliens emerged from the ship, each looking as weak and sickly as the first. There were 7 in total, of varying sizes but similar appearance. Amrita activated her universal translator, hoping it could decipher the aliens' language. One of them, slightly taller than the rest, approached Elena and spoke in a series of musical clicks and whistles. The translator crackled, then produced a halting translation. "Help, please. Our people, dying. No more? Medicine." Elena's heart clenched. Whatever their differences, suffering was universal. "We'll do everything we can," she assured the alien. "Dr. Chen, what do you need?" Liang looked up from his patient, his face grave. "Captain, their physiology is unlike anything I've ever seen. I need time to study it, to understand what's wrong and how to treat it. But from what I can tell, they're all in critical condition. We need to get them to the Horizon's med bay immediately." Elena nodded. "Agreed. Marcus, contact the ship. Have them prepare for emergency transport and quarantine procedures." She turned back to the alien leader. "We're going to take you to our ship. We'll do everything in our power to help you and your crew." The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to swirl with emotion. It reached out one of its 4 hands, grasping Elena's in a grip that was surprisingly strong given its weakened state. "Gratitude," the translator rendered. "We are Zarquin. I am Vex Era, ship commander. As the humans worked to transport the Zarquin to the horizon, Elena couldn't shake a feeling of awe. Here they were, making first contact with an advanced alien species, and their first act was one of compassion and aid. This, she thought, was humanity at its best. But as they boarded the shuttle with their alien passengers, a new worry gnawed at her. What if their help wasn't enough? What if, despite their best efforts, they couldn't save the Zarquin? The consequences of failure could be catastrophic, not just for these individuals, but for the future of human-alien relations. The shuttle lifted off, leaving behind the crashed Zarquin ship. As they ascended through the atmosphere, Elena gazed out at the alien world below. They had come seeking new frontiers, new knowledge. Instead, they had found a crisis that would test not just their scientific prowess, but their very humanity. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a challenge that would push them to their limits and beyond. Race against time. The med bay of the UES Horizon hummed with activity as Dr. Liang Chen and his team worked tirelessly to stabilize the Zarquin patients. Captain Elena Reyes stood at the observation window, her reflection ghostly against the sterile white of the medical suite beyond. "Talk to me, Liang," she said into the intercom. "What are we dealing with?" Dr. Chen looked up from his microscope, fatigue evident in the lines of his face. "It's like nothing I've ever seen, Elena. Their cellular structure it's amazing, really. They have organelles that seem to serve functions we haven't even conceived of. But they're breaking down, and fast." Elena frowned. "Breaking down? From what?" "That's the thing," Liang replied, frustration creeping into his voice. "It could be any number of factors. The crash might have exposed them to pathogens their immune systems can't handle, or maybe it's something in the planet's atmosphere, or radiation from the binary stars. Without knowing more about their normal physiology, I'm shooting in the dark." As if to underscore his words, alarms began blaring from one of the biobeds. Liang rushed over, barking orders to his team as they fought to stabilize the patient. The Zarquin commander, Vexera. Elena watched, feeling helpless as the medical team worked. This was beyond her expertise. She was an explorer, a leader, but in this situation, she felt woefully inadequate. A gentle hand on her shoulder startled her from her thoughts. She turned to see Amrita Patel, the xenolinguist, her eyes filled with concern. "Captain," Amrita said softly, "I've been working with the translation matrix, trying to communicate with the Zarquin who are still conscious. I think I might have something that could help." Hope flared in Elena's chest. "What is it?" Amrita held up her datapad. "They keep referring to something called the harmony. From what I can gather, it's not just a concept, but a tangible thing. Some kind of living technology, I think. It was damaged in the crash, and they believe that's what's causing their illness." Elena's mind raced with the implications. Living technology, that's incredible. But how does it help us? If we can repair this harmony, Amrita explained, it might be able to heal them. The problem is, I can't quite understand the specifics of how it works or what it needs. Elena nodded, a plan already forming. "All right, get down there and work with Liang. Share everything you've learned. Maybe between the two of you, we can figure this out." As Amrita hurried off to join the medical team, Elena turned back to the window. The Zarquin lay on their biobeds, their shimmering skin now dull and lifeless. She couldn't help but see them not as aliens, but as people, scared, suffering, far from home. A beep from her communicator drew her attention. "Captain," came the voice of Marcus Volkov, her security chief. "We've got a situation topside." Elena sighed. Of course they did. "What now, Marcus?" "The planet's atmospheric conditions are deteriorating rapidly," Marcus reported. "We're seeing massive electrical storms forming around the horizon. If they get any worse, we might not be able to maintain orbit." Elena felt a headache forming behind her eyes. "Understood. How long do we have?" There was a pause. presumably as Marcus consulted with the ship's meteorologist. Best estimate: 12 hours before we're forced to break orbit. 12 hours. 12 hours to solve an alien medical crisis, repair unknown technology, and somehow save 7 lives that could represent the future of interstellar relations. No pressure. All right, Elena said, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her mind. Keep me updated on the storm's progress. I want hourly reports, and I want to know the second things start to look dicey. Aye, Captain, Marcus replied before signing off. Quinn would almost certainly die. She reached the bridge, the doors hissing open at her approach. The crew turned to her, their faces a mix of determination and worry. All right, people, Elena said, her voice ringing with authority. We've got 7 lives on the line and a ticking clock. I need options, and I need them now. As her crew sprang into action, Elena felt a familiar thrill run through her. This was what humanity did best: face the impossible, push the boundaries, and come out the other side stronger for it. They had 12 hours to save an alien species and potentially change the course of human history. It was time to get to work. Breakthrough and betrayal. 8 hours into their 12-hour deadline, the mood aboard the UES Horizon was tense. In the mid-bay, Dr. Liang Chen and his team worked feverishly, their faces drawn with fatigue and worry. Captain Elena Reyes stood at the center of the organized chaos, coordinating efforts between the medical team, the xenolinguistics department, and the engineering crew. Captain, Dr. Chen's excited voice cut through the din. I think we got something. Elena rushed to his side, hope surging through her. What is it, Liang? The doctor held up a vial containing a shimmering, opalescent fluid. We've managed to synthesize a compound that mimics the properties of their Harmony technology. It's not perfect, but it might be enough to stabilize them until we can fully repair their systems. Elena's heart leaped. This could be the breakthrough they'd been desperately seeking. That's incredible work, Doctor. How soon can we administer it? Liang's face fell slightly. That's the catch. We only have enough for 1 dose. Synthesizing more would take time we don't have. The implications hit Elena like a physical blow. 1 dose, 7 patients. An impossible choice. Before she could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Marcus Volkov's voice came over the intercom, tight with tension. Captain to the bridge immediately. We have a situation. Elena shared a look of concern with Liang before rushing out of the med-bay. When she reached the bridge, she found it in a state of controlled chaos. Report, she barked, striding to the command chair. Marcus turned to her, his face grim. The storms have intensified beyond our projections, Captain. We're looking at maybe 2 hours before we're forced to break orbit, not 4. Elena felt the weight of command settle heavily on her shoulders. 2 hours, 1 dose of medicine, 7 lives in the balance. There's more, Marcus continued, his voice lowering. We've detected an unauthorized access attempt in the shuttle bay. Someone's trying to steal a shuttle. Elena's blood ran cold. Who? Marcus hesitated and said, Lieutenant DeVries from engineering. Elena couldn't believe it. Jack DeVries was one of her most trusted officers. Put me through to the shuttle bay, she ordered. A moment later, Jack's face appeared on the main view screen. He looked nervous, but determined. Jack, Elena said, fighting to keep her voice calm. What are you doing? I'm sorry, Captain, Jack replied, his voice shaking slightly. But I can't let those aliens die. I've got family on Proxima. If we save the Zarquin, think of the medical advancements we could make. It could save millions of lives, including my daughter's. Elena's mind raced. Jack's daughter, she remembered, had a rare genetic disorder. Jack, I understand you want to help your family, but this isn't the way. We're close to a breakthrough. If you just give us a little more time. We don't have more time, Jack shouted, his composure cracking. I'm taking the medicine and the Zarquin commander. With their technology, we can save so many lives. I'm sorry, Captain, but I have to do this." The screen went black as Jack cut the communication. Elena sprang into action. "Marcus, lock down the shuttle bay. Use force if necessary, but don't harm the Zarquin." As Marcus rushed to comply, Elena's mind whirled. She understood Jack's desperation, his desire to save his daughter. But if he succeeded, if he stole the Zarquin and their technology, it could destroy any hope of peaceful relations with their species. The next few minutes were a blur of action. Security teams raced to the shuttle bay. But Jack had barricaded himself in with the stolen medicine and the unconscious form of Vexera, the Zarquin commander. Elena arrived at the shuttle bay just as Jack was preparing for launch. She could see him through the shuttle's viewport, his face a mask of determination and guilt. "Jack," she called over the comm. "Think about what you're doing. This isn't just about your daughter anymore. You're risking interstellar war." Breakthrough and betrayal continued. Helena blinked in surprise. What had happened? The answer came a moment later as the shuttle's hatch opened, revealing a weary but determined Dr. Chen. In his hands, he held an empty hypospray. "I had a feeling someone might try something desperate," Liang explained as he helped the security team secure Lieutenant DeVries. "So I kept the real medicine with me and replaced it with a harmless saline solution." Relief washed over Elena, quickly followed by concern. "The Zarquin commander." "Stable for now," Liang assured her, "but we need to get them back to the med bay immediately." As the security team led Jack away, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of disappointment and sympathy. She understood his desperation, but his actions had nearly jeopardized everything they'd worked for. With the immediate crisis averted, Elena turned her attention back to the larger problem at hand. They still had only one dose of the synthesized Harmony compound and 7 critically ill Zarquin patients. And now, they had less than 2 hours before the storms forced them to break orbit. "Dr. Chen," Elena said as they hurried back to the med bay, "we need options. How do we make this work?" Liang's face was grim. "Captain, I've been thinking about this. The Harmony compound seems to work on a quantum level, entangling with the Zarquin's unique cellular structure. In theory, if we could find a way to amplify and broadcast its effects, we could treat all of them at once," Elena finished, hope rekindling in her chest. "Exactly," Liang nodded. "But we'd need to boost the signal somehow, and we'd need a willing human test subject. The process could be dangerous." Elena didn't hesitate. "I'll do it." Liang looked at her in shock. "Captain, I can't ask you to." "You're not asking," Elena cut him off. "I'm volunteering. This is too important to delegate." As they reached the med bay, Elena could see the protest in Liang's eyes. But they both knew there was no time to argue. The fate of 7 lives, and potentially the future of human-alien relations, hung in the balance. "All right," Liang conceded, "but we'll need to work fast, and we'll need help from engineering to rig up a broadcast system." Elena nodded, already reaching for her communicator. "I'll have our best people on it immediately." As the medical and engineering teams scrambled to prepare, Elena took a moment to look at the Zarquin patients. Their shimmering skin had grown dull, their breathing labored. She thought of Vexera, the commander who had reached out to her in gratitude when they first met. She thought of the vast distances these beings must have traveled, the wonders they must have seen. She couldn't let them die here, not when they were so close to home. A hand on her shoulder startled her from her thoughts. It was Amrita, the xenolinguist, her eyes wide with concern. "Captain," Amrita said softly, "are you sure about this? The risks are worth taking," Elena finished for her. "This is bigger than just us, Amrita. This could be the beginning of something incredible." Amrita nodded, understanding in her eyes. "Then let me help. I've been studying their language, their culture. Maybe I can, I don't know, guide you somehow during the procedure." Before Elena could respond, Liang called out from across the medbay. "We're ready, Captain." Elena took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "Let's do this." As she lay down on the biobed, electrodes being attached to her temples and chest, Alina felt a strange calm settle over her. Whatever happened next, she knew she was doing the right thing. Liang appeared above her, hypospray in hand. "Last chance to back out, Captain." Alina managed a small smile. "Not a chance, Doctor. Let's make history." The hypospray hissed against her neck, and the world began to spin. Colors swirled and merged. Sounds became distant and echoing. And then, suddenly, Alina found herself somewhere else. A vast, shimmering expanse stretched out before her, pulsing with energy and life. And within it, 7 flickering lights, growing dimmer by the second. The Zarquin. Instinctively, Alina reached out towards them, feeling the harmony compound coursing through her veins, amplified by the broadcast system. She poured every ounce of her will, her compassion, her humanity into the connection. Live, she thought fiercely. Live. And slowly, impossibly, the lights began to brighten. Ethical dilemma and sacrifice. Alina floated in a sea of swirling colors and pulsing energy. Her consciousness stretched to its limits as she fought to maintain the connection with the 7 Zarquin life forces. Each pulse of the harmony compound through her veins sent waves of sensation coursing through her body, alternating between searing heat and icy cold. In the physical world, alarms blared in the med bay as Alina's vital signs fluctuated wildly. Dr. Liang Chen rushed between monitors, barking orders to his team as they struggled to keep both the captain and the Zarquin stable. "Her neural activity is off the charts," one of the medical technicians reported, her voice tight with worry. "If this continues, we risk permanent brain damage." Liang's face was a mask of concentration as he made minute adjustments to the harmony compound flow. "We can't stop now. Look at the Zarquin readings. They're improving." Indeed, the alien patients were showing signs of recovery. Their dull skin had begun to regain its characteristic shimmer, and their erratic vital signs were slowly stabilizing. But at what cost? In the strange mindscape of the harmony, Alina could feel herself weakening. The effort of maintaining the connection with 7 alien minds was draining her in ways she couldn't fully comprehend. Yet she pushed on, driven by a deep-seated determination to see this through. Suddenly, a familiar presence brushed against her consciousness. "Amrita," Alina thought, surprised. "I'm here, Captain," came the response, the xenolinguist's mental voice sounding strained but determined. "The doctors were worried about you, so I volunteered to try and reach you through the harmony link." Relief flooded through Alina. "Thank God. I'm not sure how much longer I can hold this." "You need to let go, Captain," Amrita urged. "Your vitals are critical. If you don't break the connection soon, you might not survive." Alina's resolve wavered for a moment. The thought of her own death, of leaving behind her crew, her mission, her dreams of exploration, it was almost enough to make her pull back. Almost. "I can't," Alina thought back fiercely. "Not yet. The Zarquin aren't fully healed. If I break the connection now, everything we've done will be for nothing." She could feel Amrita's frustration and fear. "But Captain—" "No buts, Amrita," Alina cut her off. "This is my choice. The needs of the many, remember. If my sacrifice can save 7 lives and potentially usher in a new era of interstellar cooperation, then it's worth it." There was a moment of silence in the mindscape, broken only by the pulsing energy of the harmony. Then, to Alina's surprise, she felt another presence join them. "You humans," came a new voice, melodic and alien, yet somehow familiar. "Always so quick to sacrifice yourselves." "Vexera," Alina thought, recognizing the Zarquin commander's mental signature. "Yes," came the reply. "Your bravery and compassion have given us the strength to join this link. But we cannot allow you to destroy yourself for our sake." Before Alina could protest, she felt the other Zarquin consciousnesses join the link. Their alien minds brushed against hers, a kaleidoscope of thoughts and emotions that threatened to overwhelm her. Together, Vexera's voice rang out. "We can complete the healing without further risk to you, Captain Alina Reyes of Earth." A surge of energy flowed through the link, the combined will of 7 Zarquin minds, amplifying the effects of the harmony compound. Alina felt herself being gently but firmly pushed back, away from the draining center of the connection. In the med bay, the monitors suddenly stabilized. Alina's vital signs returned to normal as the Zarquin readings spiked, their bodies glowing with an inner light that bathed the room in a soft, ethereal radiance. Liang and his team watched in awe as the alien patients began to stir, their multifaceted eyes opening to take in their surroundings. On the central biobed, Alina gasped and sat up, her eyes wide and unfocused. "Captain." Liang rushed to her side, scanner in hand. "Are you all right? How do you feel?" Alina blinked, her gaze slowly focusing on the doctor's concerned face. A smile spread across her features, tired but triumphant. "Like I just went 10 rounds with a Martian gravity well," she quipped. "But it worked, didn't it? They're alive." Liang nodded, relief evident in his expression. "Yes, Captain. Thanks to you. They're all stable and recovering rapidly." As if on cue, Vexera's melodic voice filled the med bay, the universal translator struggling to keep up with the aliens' excited clicks and whistles. "Captain Alina Reyes of Earth, you have done the impossible. You have saved not just our lives, but the future of our 2 species." Alina turned to see the Zarquin commander approaching her biobed, all 4 of its arms outstretched in what she assumed was a gesture of gratitude. The alien's multifaceted eyes swirled with a riot of colors that seemed to convey more emotion than words ever could. "I'm just glad we could help," Alina replied, her voice hoarse but sincere. "This is what humanity strives for, to reach out, to connect, to aid those in need, no matter how different they may be from us." Vexera tilted its head, the feather-like crest rippling in what Alina was beginning to recognize as a sign of deep thought. "You were willing to sacrifice everything for beings you had just met. This is not a concept we Zarquin are familiar with. It is both terrifying and beautiful." Alina smiled, remembering the swirling mindscape of the harmony. "I think we both learned something about each other today. This is just the beginning of what we can achieve together." As the med bay bustled with activity, the recovered Zarquin being tended to by Liang's team, Alina felt a wave of exhaustion wash over her, but beneath the fatigue was a burning excitement. They had done it. First contact, a medical miracle, and the seeds of what could become a profound alliance between species. But as her gaze drifted to the med bay viewport, where the roiling storms of the planet below were visible, Alina knew their trials weren't over yet. They still had to get off this planet and back to Earth with their new alien friends. The real challenge, it seemed, was just beginning. Triumph of humanity. The bridge of the UES horizon thrummed with tension as the ship's systems strained against the intensifying electromagnetic storms. Captain Alina Reyes, still pale from her ordeal with the harmony compound, stood at the command console, her eyes fixed on the swirling maelstrom visible through the main view screen. "Status report," she called out, her voice steady despite the fatigue evident in the lines of her face. Marcus Volkov, her security chief now doubling as operations manager, responded promptly. "Shield integrity at 68% and falling, Captain. The storms are interfering with our propulsion systems. If we don't break orbit in the next 20 minutes, we risk being pulled into the planet's atmosphere." Alina nodded grimly. They had known this was coming, but the reality of their situation was no less daunting. Options. Before Marcus could respond, the doors to the bridge hissed open, admitting Dr. Liang Chen and Vexera, the Zarquin commander. The alien's presence on the bridge drew curious glances from the crew, but Alina was too focused on their predicament to pay much attention. "Captain," Liang began, excitement coloring his voice, "Vexera has a proposal." Alina turned to the Zarquin, raising an eyebrow in question. The alien stepped forward, its multifaceted eyes swirling with determination. Captain Elena Reyes. Vex era began, the universal translator rendering its clicks and whistles into melodious speech. Your ship saved us, but now it is in danger. We believe we can help. Hope flared in Elena's chest. We're listening. Vexera gestured with two of its four arms, creating a shimmering hologram in the air between them. It showed a complex diagram that Elena couldn't quite decipher. The harmony is more than just a medical technology, Vexera explained. It is the heart of our ship's systems. If we can integrate it with your vessel, we may be able to create a quantum field that will allow us to slip through the storm unharmed. Elena shared a look with Liang, seeing her own mix of excitement and apprehension mirrored in the doctor's eyes. Is that even possible? She asked. Liang shrugged. In theory, maybe. But the integration would have to be perfect, and we'd need to modify our systems extensively in a very short time. And the risks? Elena pressed. Considerable, Vexera admitted. If the integration fails, it could overload your ship's systems, but it is our best chance for survival. Elena took a deep breath, weighing their options. It was a risk, certainly, but no more so than staying in orbit and being torn apart by the storm. And if it worked, all right, she decided. Let's do it. Dr. Chen, work with Vexera and our engineering team. You have 15 minutes to make this happen. As Liang and Vexera rushed off, Elena turned back to the view screen. The storm seemed to mock them, its swirling patterns growing more violent by the second. The next 15 minutes were a blur of frantic activity. Elena coordinated between the bridge, engineering, and the makeshift Harmony integration team, making split-second decisions as new challenges arose. The entire ship vibrated with the strain of the modifications and the increasing fury of the storm outside. Finally, with barely 2 minutes to spare, Liang's voice came over the comm. We're ready, Captain. But I have to warn you, this is completely untested. We have no idea what will happen when we activate the Harmony field. Elena took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the activation control. This was it, the moment that would determine not just their fate, but potentially the future of human-alien relations. Sometimes, Doctor, she said, a hint of a smile playing at her lips, you just have to take a leap of faith. She pressed the button. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a wave of energy pulsed through the ship, causing the lights to flicker and the deck to shudder. On the view screen, a shimmering field of iridescent energy began to form around the horizon, growing stronger with each passing second. It's working, Marcus exclaimed, his eyes wide as he stared at his readouts. The storm, it's not touching us anymore. Elena felt a surge of triumph, but she knew they weren't out of danger yet. Helm, take us out of orbit. Nice and easy. The horizon began to move, slipping through the raging storm as if it were calm space. The crew watched in awe as lightning bolts and plasma streams parted around their shimmering shield, unable to touch them. As they cleared the planet's atmosphere and the storm began to recede behind them, a cheer went up on the bridge. Elena allowed herself a moment of relief before turning to Vexera, who stood watching the view screen with an unreadable expression. Thank you, Elena said simply. You saved us all. Vexera turned its multifaceted gaze to her, its eyes swirling with what Elena was beginning to recognize as emotion. No, Captain Elena Reyes. It is we who must thank you. Your courage, your compassion, your willingness to risk everything for beings you had just met. These are qualities that we Zarquin have long believed to be myths. You have shown us that they are real, and that they are powerful. The alien paused, its crest rippling in what Elena now knew was a sign of deep thought. We came to your space as explorers, seeking new life and new civilizations. We never imagined that we would find not just life, but a species that could teach us. Triumph of humanity, continued. The alien paused, its crest rippling in what Elena now knew was a sign of deep thought. We came to your space as explorers, seeking new life and new civilizations. We never imagined that we would find not just life, but a species that could teach us so much about courage, sacrifice, and the true meaning of unity. Elena felt a warmth spread through her chest at Vexara's words. This, she realized, was why she had joined the UES Horizon's mission. Not just for exploration, but for moments like these, moments of connection, of understanding, of bridging the vast gulfs between species. I think we both have much to learn from each other, Elena replied, her voice soft, but filled with conviction. This is just the beginning of what I hope will be a long and fruitful relationship between our peoples. As if to underscore her words, the ship's long-range sensors began to beep insistently. Marcus quickly checked the readings, his eyes widening in surprise. "Captain," he reported, "we're picking up a signal. It's a Zarquin ship. They must have been searching for Vexara and the others." Excitement rippled through the bridge crew. Elena turned to Vexara, seeing her own anticipation mirrored in the alien's swirling eyes. "Shall we greet your people together?" Elena asked, extending her hand in a gesture of partnership. Vexara regarded her hand for a moment, then reached out with two of its own, grasping Elena's in a gentle but firm grip. Together, the alien agreed. As they prepared to make contact with the approaching Zarquin vessel, Elena couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. From a routine exploration mission to a desperate rescue, from near disaster to triumph, it had been a roller coaster of emotions and challenges. But through it all, humanity had shown its best qualities: compassion in the face of the unknown, ingenuity in the face of impossible odds, sacrifice for the greater good, and above all, an unwavering determination to reach out, to connect, to build bridges across the stars. The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. The Zarquin rescue ship docked with the Horizon, and soon the human vessel was filled with the melodic sounds of alien speech as the two crews mingled. Medical and scientific teams from both species eagerly exchanged information, laying the groundwork for what promised to be years of fruitful collaboration. As Elena watched her crew interact with the Zarquin, she felt a deep sense of pride. This was humanity at its finest, curious, open-minded, and eager to learn. Even Lieutenant DeVries, chastened by his earlier actions, was working diligently alongside the alien engineers, his expertise helping to further integrate the Harmony technology with the Horizon systems. Amrita Patel, the xenolinguist, was in her element, her eyes shining with excitement as she rapidly improved the universal translator's ability to convey the nuances of Zarquin speech. Dr. Chen and his medical team were deep in discussion with their alien counterparts, already exploring the potential applications of Harmony technology in human medicine. As the impromptu celebration wound down, Elena found herself standing with Vexara in the Horizon's observation lounge, gazing out at the star-studded expanse of space. "What happens now?" Elena asked, voicing the question that had been on her mind since their rescue. Vexara's crest rippled thoughtfully. "Now, Captain Elena Reyes, we embark on a new journey together. Our peoples have much to offer each other. The Zarquin have traveled the stars for millennia. But in you humans, we have found something rare and precious. A young species with boundless potential and a spirit that refuses to be dampened by adversity." The alien turned its multifaceted gaze to Elena, its eyes swirling with colors that seemed to convey a depth of emotion beyond words. "We would be honored if you would accompany us back to our homeworld. There is much we wish to show you, and much we hope to learn from you in return." Elena felt a thrill of excitement course through her. The opportunity to visit an alien world, to be among the first humans to set foot on Zarquin soil, it was beyond her wildest dreams. "The honor would be ours," she replied, her voice thick with emotion. "I'll have to clear it with Starfleet Command, of course, but I can't imagine they'd refuse such an unprecedented opportunity for cultural exchange." As if on cue, her communicator chirped. It was a message from Starfleet headquarters, no doubt responding to the flurry of reports she'd sent about their encounter with the Zarquin. Elena read the message, her eyes widening in disbelief. "They've approved it," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "We're to escort the Zarquin back to their homeworld and establish formal diplomatic relations. Starfleet is calling this Operation Harmony." Vexera's crest rippled in what Elena now recognized as the alien equivalent of a smile. "A fitting name," the Zarquin commented. "For is that not what we have achieved here? Harmony between our peoples, born from crisis and forged in the crucible of shared adversity." Elena nodded, feeling the weight of the moment settle upon her. This was history in the making, the dawn of a new era of interstellar cooperation. As the Horizon and the Zarquin vessel prepared to depart, Elena took one last look at the azure world below them, the planet where it had all begun. In her mind's eye, she could still see the shimmering mindscape of the Harmony, could still feel the connection that had bound her to the Zarquin in their moment of need. That connection, she realized, was more than just a quirk of alien technology. It was a metaphor for what they had achieved here, a harmony of minds and spirits, reaching across the gulf of space and species to find common ground. As the ships engaged their engines and set course for the Zarquin homeworld, Elena felt a sense of profound optimism. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever wonders awaited them in the vast expanse of the cosmos, she knew that humanity was ready to face them. Not alone, but in harmony with their new allies. Together, there was no limit to what they could achieve. The stars beckoned, and the U.S. Horizon, carrying the hopes and dreams of two species, answered their call. The greatest adventure of all was just beginning. Less than / Antartifact greater than.